So good afternoon and a very warm welcome to all our respected guest speakers and organizers of this event. As we observe the Rashtriya Poshan Maah this year, the theme for which is converging towards a healthy walk through life through a series of events, one of which is today's session on expert talk. I request the chief patron of the program, Dr. Atoshi Karfa, Principal Gokhale Memorial Girls College, to kindly deliver her welcome address.
Thank you, Pratasha. I welcome you all to this month-long celebration of Poshan Maah by Clinical Nutrition Department of Gokhale Memorial Girls College in association with the IQAC cell. Today we have with us two eminent speakers, Srimati Bela Bose, President, Calcutta Ekatma, former Program Officer, NSS, Calcutta University, and Mr. Oripro Khan, faculty in the Department of Clinical Dietetics and Community Nutrition of KPC Medical College. Nutrition is a critical part of health and development. Better nutrition is related to improved infant, child, and material health, stronger immune systems, safer pregnancy and childbirth, lower risk of non-communicable diseases such as diabetics and cardiovascular disease, and longevity. Healthy children learn better. In India, the National Nutrition Week is observed every year from September 1 to September 7 to raise public awareness about nutrition and healthy eating habits. National Nutrition Month, annual nutrition education and information campaign created by the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics that is celebrated each year during the month of March, focusing on the importance of making informed food choices and developing sound eating and physical activity habits. Every year, the Poshan month is celebrated under Poshan Obhigyan PM's overarching scheme for holistic nourishment, which was launched in 2018. The Poshan Obhigyan has set goals to reduce child undernutrition, low birth weight, and anemia across age groups and create a mass movement for good nutrition in the country. This year, we are observing the 4th Rashtriya Poshan Maah during the month of September 2021 through the Department of Clinical Nutrition and Dietetics, established in the year of 1994 in the college in collaboration with IQAC. Majority of students of CND department go for higher studies in esteemed institutions and get placements in various related organizations. CND course offers various job prospects ranging from nutritionist, dietitian, teaching, research, quality control, etc. Now we have with us আমাদের বেলাদি আপনি আমাদের যথেষ্ট উৎসাহ এই বয়সে আপনি যেভাবে কাজ করে চলেছেন সেটা আমাদের কাছে সত্যি একটা বড় উৎসাহের জায়গা এবং আমার বিশ্বাস যে আমাদের ছাত্রীরা যারা আজকে এখানে রয়েছেন আপনার কথা শুনে তারাও ইন্সপায়ার্ড হবে এবং আপনার কাছ থেকে কলেজও নানানভাবে সমৃদ্ধ হবে। সেজন্য সময় নষ্ট না করে আমার মনে হয় আমাদের এর পরের এই অনুষ্ঠানের পরের অংশে চলে যাওয়া দরকার। থ্যাংক ইউ প্রত্যাশা, থ্যাংক ইউ অল।
Thank you so much, ma'am. So now I request our IQAC coordinator, Dr. Shonchita Sen, to kindly introduce our first speaker for the day, that is respected Srimati Bela Bose. Dr. Shonchita Sen.
Thank you. Respected members of the governing body, can you hear me?
Beladi, I need to introduce you to the participants. I need to introduce you to the participants, Beladi.
Yes, please do.
Just give me 2 minutes. To all the participants, this is a tremendous job for me. Introducing Srimati Bela Bose, our dear Beladi. We have not known Beladi for long, but for the very short time we have been acquainted. Beladi's soft, gentle, humble demeanor and activities has endeared her to us in a very special way. Beladi is an octogenarian, and it's surprising that she is so active and so enthusiastic even at this age. She graduated with honors in English from Presidency College in 1953 and obtained an MA degree through the Presidency College from Calcutta University in 1961. And thereafter, she trained in English communication, sponsored by by the UGC from 1995 onwards, from various institutions such as the CIEFL Hyderabad, REE Chandigarh, and the British Council and the Institute of English in Kolkata. Her work experience is vast, as she worked as a lecturer and then a reader in English literature and English communication for more than 33 years under the Calcutta University. And she also served as a principal of the Next Gen Institute of Business and Technology, a management college under the WBUT, now which is known as the Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad University of Technology. She worked as the program officer in the NSS scheme of Government of India for more than 20 years. Her work experience in social service is also vast. She served as the joint secretary and then the president of the Association for Social Health in India, in the West Bengal branch, for more than 10 years. And she worked as the president BRWS, that is a Bengal Rural Welfare Service, for the last 3 years. And she is a trustee member of Khalaghor, a destitute children's home. And she is now serving as the president of Calcutta Ekatma, a registered NGO, which is 28 years old now. And she is also the life member of the All Bengal Women's Association, All Bengal Women's Union, which has its headquarters in Kolkata. This octogenarian has a vault full of expertise and precious experiences in social service and as philanthropic person, and we are fortunate to have her share these with us today. Beladi, I warmly welcome you to this event and request you to begin the talk.
Sure.
Thank
So
you.
let me just act up what I was saying.
Thank you
Just
so much.
1 second.
So I begin now.
Bela ma'am, 1 second. Just I want to say to the participants, it's a request to all the participants. If you have any questions for the speaker, please post your questions in the chat box mentioning your name, which will be addressed post the session. Thank you. Bela ma'am, you may please.
Yes. Respected members of the governing body of the college, respected principal madam, my fellow faculty members and office colleagues, and my beloved students. It is a great honor for me that I received this cordial invitation for sharing my experiences as a community worker. I always call myself a community worker. With all of you on this auspicious occasion of observing National Nutrition Month, that is September 2021. It's really a matter of grave concern that after so many years of our country's independence, a considerable number of people suffer from malnutrition and associated deficiency diseases. The picture is a dark and dismal one when it comes to women and children. As we observe National Nutrition Week or Month every year with a new theme, we pledge that every effort would be made for eradication of such evils that cause immense sufferings to a large number of our vast population. The theme for this year's National Nutrition Month is converging towards a healthy walk through life. It is very easy to pronounce, but it is rather difficult to do it actually. Now we are to find out how we, the teachers, can motivate our young students to contribute with their limited resources, that is time and energy, to this mammoth task of fighting malnutrition. We all know that the NSS program, I think Gokhale Memorial has a very Gokhale Memorial College as a very strong and active NSS unit. I believe so. The NSS program was launched by the government of way back in 1969 on the recommendations of the Kothari Commission. The scheme envisaged active participation of the student community in the welfare of the needy and of the distressed. One major area of work was nutrition and health. Student members, that is volunteers, under the able guidance of the trained program officer, a faculty member of the institution, work in a slum area and a village adopted by the NSS unit, in which as many as 100 students are enrolled for one unit. Before planning a project for the sustainable development of an underdeveloped population, because that is very important, it should be a sustainable development of an underdeveloped population. A complete and detailed profile of the area and the people has to be obtained. For this purpose, a survey of the families residing in that area has to be made, keeping in view a particular subject on which the future planning will be done. Now, a few years back, I composed a poem in Bengali, okay, and the poem was meant for the common people. It spelled out the theme that even in ordinary fruits, vegetables, whatever you find around you will give you nutrition if you know what kind of nutritive value the particular food items contain. This poem was, I'll send you the poem later, okay? Now, let us suppose the project will be on the eradication of malnutrition, which we pledge during this nutrition month. Eradication of malnutrition among children, because we all know that if the children are not healthy, that hampers the growth and development of the entire nation. In that case, the survey form must contain information about the family's socio-economic conditions, food habits, and also incidents of health problems. Experiences reveal that children suffer from malnutrition due to one or more of the following reasons. Number one, lack of adequate knowledge of the mothers about proper nutrition. That is a glaring fact. Number two, preference for processed food and junk food for convenience, because we often find that the mothers give a packet of potato chips bought from the shop and give it for the school tiffin to the child, because she saves the trouble of preparing food at home as a school tiffin. Unhygienic conditions of the place for food preparation. That is also something very important. The place where food is prepared, not only for the children, but also for all the family members. That place should be very, very clean. Then number four, frequent bouts of illness like cold, cough, fever, diarrhea, etc. Number five, worms. Very often we find that children suffer from worms, and that is another source of causing malnutrition. Number six, improper maintenance of personal hygiene, like washing hands, brushing of teeth, washing mouth properly after every meal, nail cutting, proper bath, cleaning of the body. Number 7, taboos, misconceptions, and superstitions prevailing among such categories of our people. Now, we have to find the way out. Our goal is to save the children from deficiency diseases by utilizing the resources available with the families, keeping in view their living conditions. So in the survey form, we always include income group, the family income, because on that will depend all our suggestions and all our menu planning. Student volunteers will have to undergo some sort of an orientation before they are engaged in such a survey work. That orientation has to be done before they are actually sent to the slum area or to a rural area for survey. The first and foremost principle that the students are to bear in mind is that the students and the community people are to be treated as belonging to the same platform. This is very, very, very important because my experience is, if you can guess my age from my looks, I am 89 years old, see. So during this long life and my long association with community work, I have seen that if you can establish a cordiality with those people, with the rural people, with the slum people, the changes will be really, really remarkable. Really remarkable changes can come over them if you can establish this rapport with the people in those underdeveloped areas. The respondent should never feel, respondent means the woman whom you are interviewing. The respondent must never feel that she is from a level far below that of the interviewer. Interviewer is the student volunteer. For the first few days of the survey, this rapport establishment is absolutely essential and very, very important. My long experience in working among the people of the rural areas and urban slums, which I'm still continuing under our NGO. You must have heard the name of my NGO, Calcutta Ekatma. Ekatma the name is very significant. Ekatma means one soul, Ek Atma, one soul. We all belong to the same category. We belong to the same race, that is human race. That we must always bear in mind. Our student volunteers, when they go for survey or any work in the slum area or in a rural area, they must always remember this principle. Deviation from this will be, the result will be, they will be totally unsuccessful in getting proper information from those people. Yes. My long experience has given me this idea that people staying in these areas also have immense potentials. If properly guided, they can achieve unique success in any field. Our students are to generate in them this self-confidence. This has been proved a number of times in my own life. Coming back to fighting malnutrition, I'd like to point out a simple truth that our children from their very early days are to be fed with natural food. This is very important. There are so many natural food items around us, growing around us, especially in Bengal. There are plenty of food items which we can utilize properly if we know how to utilize them. And those things can supply the required nutrients. You don't have to go to medicine shops or buy vitamins, tonics, you see, for keeping a better health. Tinned food and packeted food must be avoided as far as possible. Often, mothers are charmed by the bright, shining advertisements and spend unnecessarily on food items, which cause more harm than good. Homemade food is always preferable to packaged food. Babies who are breastfed grow stronger immunity than those deprived of this good God-gifted mother's milk. This has to be ensured that expectant mothers receive proper nutrition during pregnancy and a regular health checkup. Now, as I visited rural areas, rural families, often the bohu, the expectant mother, very shyly used to tell me that, Didi, I remain half fed. This is time, you see. The lady who is expecting, carrying a baby, must be fed properly according to the doctor's advice. But in most cases, she remains half fed. What is the result? She herself becomes anemic or gives birth to an unhealthy child, underdeveloped child. So these must be stopped. How can you stop it? Our student volunteers, when they visit these households, are to talk to the elders, the in-laws, so that they look after the expectant mother. The expectant mother is given proper food according to the doctor's advice, and then only she can give birth to a healthy baby and feed the baby as long as it is desired. Our students can talk to the elders of the family and politely insist on this. After the baby's birth, the mother must have proper food and rest, which would enable her to breastfeed her baby for the desired period of time. We all know that the period of maternity leave has been increased. Now, mothers get more time to breastfeed the baby, and maternity leave, the period of maternity leave has been increased. National Breastfeeding Week is observed from the 1st to 7th August every year. During that week, we always insist that mothers, as long as possible, to feed the baby with breast milk. Next comes the question of immunization. That is very important, very, very important. Immunization of the children. Children should complete their immunization schedule, which starts from the time of their birth. One card is given when the mother gets released with the baby from the hospital. A card is handed over to her, telling in which month, which preventive injection has to be administered. So that must be followed strictly. And our student volunteers, while visiting those households, should definitely inquire whether the immunization schedule is being followed or not. If not, they have to insist that for the baby's safety, baby's healthy growth, this schedule should be strictly, very, very strictly followed. Most of those preventive measures are offered by the government free of charges. The mother, the family doesn't have to pay anything for that. But even then, due to lack of knowledge, due to callousness, some sort of callousness, I should say, they do not go for completing the immunization schedule, which often brings about calamities. Children should complete their immunization schedule, which starts from the time of their birth. The instructions in this regard must be strictly followed. Our students may talk to the mothers and find out whether the immunization schedule is being followed in the correct manner. In case there is any break, The students must explain the importance of completing the schedule for keeping the children safe and healthy. I'll send you a detailed immunization schedule, which it is not possible for me to dictate, and it will be difficult for the students also to remember. I'll send you a typed copy of the immunization schedule, which I got from my secretary, who is a neonatologist, a doctor. I got it from him, and I'll send it to the college soon. During their survey, the students will explain to the mothers why these measures are so vital, and also apprise them of the fact that most such facilities are being offered by the government of our state. Then the students, now malnutrition is also caused by environmental conditions often. The students may turn to the following basic civic amenities that are expected to be offered by the government departments. First, supply of safe drinking water. We all know that there are certain diseases which are waterborne, which can be prevented if drinking water is safe. So that is very important, which our students should especially give their attention to. Regular cleaning of the area and regular disposal of garbage. Now this reminds me of a very funny story. You know, once I was working, this is a story based on facts. Once I was working in a slum area near the Taliganj railway station. You know, that the name of that area was Bongosri Colony. You can find it out very soon. Very close to my house. I am in Lake Gardens, you know. So there, we were holding a camp, special camping program we were having there in the slum area. It was a primary school, and one fine morning, I went there. We were not staying for the night because in special camping programs, we were supposed to stay for the night in that slum or in the village. Now, since there was dearth of accommodation in the slum, we came back after 8 hours work. So next morning when I went to the primary school, to my amazement, I found a dumping corporation, you know, they take these garbage in a handcart. So that handcart was there in the school compound. It was a primary school compound, and into it garbage. And on the top of the garbage heap, there was a dead cat, smelling awful. So I immediately went to the headmaster and asked him why it was so. The headmaster was very polite and almost in tears. He said, Didi, I told these corporation people, but they are not removing this. So I said, okay. I straight went to the corporation office on Prince Anwar Road, our borough office, and saw the officer in charge there and told him that we are holding a camp under the Government of India NSS program, and this is the scene I found in the compound of a primary school, mind you. So that officer was a little perturbed. He said, ma'am, what should I do? I said, you immediately do something to remove that garbage heap from the school compound. It's a school, primary school for the children. If you don't do it, tomorrow morning, if I come and see the same thing, I'll report it to the press. I'll call the press. Next morning I went and everything was clean and bleaching powder was scattered and everything was fine. So this is not a story. These are facts which I faced. So this can be done. NSS volunteers, they have immense power. They can approach any government department with a letter from the principal that we are NSS volunteers. We are supposed to look after the environmental conditions, environmental sanitation of these areas. and immediately action will be taken. I am assuring you, you can do that. So supply of safe drinking water is something very important. Regular cleaning of the area and regular disposal of garbage. Any other environmental hazard noticed. Students are to note down the details while conducting the survey. And all these reports will come to the college, to the program officer, then to the principal, and appropriate measures can be adopted. Students will encourage the residents to plant saplings, as many as possible, during the rainy season and create a greenery for better living. This is area or any rural areas are green, naturally green, but in the slum areas, this can be done. Even in small earthen tubs, this can be practiced. In gardening. Now, we are also encouraging kitchen gardening in small areas like window sills. In a window sill, one can plant small creepers like small plants like plants of green chilies, creepers like bitter gourd. They grow in a very small space, and small spaces can be utilized in this way, and little bit of vegetables can be grown. Now, another thing is associated with kitchen gardening, that is preparation of compost fertilizer. You all know that scientists are now discouraging use of chemical fertilizers. So there is so much of use of natural fertilizers, organic fertilizers, which the students can discuss with the slum dwellers, and they can easily take to this all these measures and utilizing the kitchen waste, like peeling vegetables. After peeling vegetables, the skins are thrown away. Instead of throwing them away, let them put those skins together and put them in a small earthen tub and some clay put on it. Then after some time, they will rot and will be made into compost fertilizer, which is good for plant growth. Common sanitary toilets. In a slum area, we always find that there is a row of common sanitary latrines, which are very badly used. Those are made by the civic authorities like in the city of the Calcutta Corporation, Kolkata Municipal Corporation, or in the rural areas, the panchayats. But they are very badly used, and due to improper use, they are often broken or becomes unfit for use. These should be brought to the notice of the local clubs. When the students go for survey in a slum area, they should be looking for local clubs and establish a rapport with them as well. Not only that, the women only will be the respondents. They will talk to the local clubs and encourage them to take care of all these civic amenities so that they are not disturbed. You see, flow of drinking water, sanitary latrines, keeping them in proper order, usable, okay, and regular disposal of garbage from, because it's a very congested area, you know. Slum areas are very congested, and we must always think of that. As a vital part of this Poshan Maah, Nutrition Month, students are to explain and also demonstrate a few low-cost nutritious items, especially suitable for children. You know, this is very important. If you go to a slum area, if the students go to a slum area and ask them what they actually consume. In the survey form, I have handed over a survey form to Sanchita madam. I think she has done, she will utilize it for the survey work when our students will go for survey in the slum area. And if required, any additional alteration can be made. I've given her a sample survey form. Anyway, now when going for survey, and when the survey is complete, when it is found that children are suffering from some common diseases like skin diseases, like fever, cold, enteric diseases, diarrhea. So these ailments should be noted down and brought to the notice of the program officer, NSS program officer, and of the principal as well, so that necessary remedial measures can be obtained. A few low-cost nutritious items can be demonstrated to the slum people. One is saag roti or paratha. Now, children are generally averse to green vegetables, saag, but which is a very important component of a balanced diet. By balanced diet, you have your this clinical nutrition and dietetics as a subject. So you know what is a balanced diet. I need not explain it anymore. But in a balanced diet, green leafy vegetables are a must. But children are generally averse to such food items. So what do we do? What do the mothers do? The mothers will feed them with green leafy vegetables, but in a modified way. What is the modified way? You can boil green leafy vegetables like palak, like any other green vegetables, and mix it with wheat flour and make chapatis or parathas with that. That will make green vegetables a part of diet, and at the same time, not the children will like to have it because they do not know in which way the green vegetable becomes a part of their diet. Then there is another very, very good food item which is not very costly but very, very nutritious. Can you guess what it is? Can you guess what it is? It is soya bean. You know that there are Nutella, Nutri-Nuggets, all these processed soya items sold in the market. But the soya seeds, they can be utilized for preparing milk from them. How do you do that? Soya seeds can be soaked overnight. The clinical nutrition students must be knowing the procedure. Again, I am reiterating. Soya seeds can be soaked overnight in water. Then next morning, it should be washed. And while washing, a very thin coating will come out. Throw away that coating. Then the soya seeds will be pasted, made into a paste, and boiled with water. And milk comes out, like any cow's milk or buffalo milk, like that. And from that milk, you can feed the child with that milk, or preparations like kheer and any other sweet meat can be prepared out of that milk. Children will love to have it. The main thing is soya is much cheaper than any of the other items from which protein is obtainable, like fish, meat, even eggs. And the percentage of protein in soya is much, much higher than what we get from fish, meat, poultry, eggs, etc. So soybean those people should be encouraged to use soybean as a source of protein. It can be used in various ways. I'll send you some recipes because it is not possible to dictate all those recipes right now. I'll send a recipe book for your future use. Peanuts. Peanuts is another very, very nutritious food for everybody, especially for children. Instead of buying school tiffin, prepared cake, cheap cakes from the market, mothers can prepare tikkiyas with potatoes and peanuts, roasted peanuts, roasted mind you, not fried in oil, roasted peanuts, and give them for school tiffin or afternoon snacks. Children love variety in food. They will be amused and will find pleasure and will eagerly have the food if it is presented in a better way, in a novel manner. Like, I can give you one idea, very funny though. You can boil potatoes, mash it, and while mashing, put some soya milk in it. Protein is added, then make a human figure out of it. Human figure, one head, one body, two hands, 2 feet, with toothpicks as support. Okay. And then you put beans or peas as ornaments. Put on the hands beans, strips of beans, French beans, and peas for ornaments. And then for the eyes, you use, for the eyes not exactly black, but brownish. Beetroot strips. Beetroot, beetroot strips you use as eyes. For the lips, you use carrot strips. Carrots are good in vitamin A, it's a good source of vitamin A. So you use carrot strips, finely stripped carrots, okay, or grated carrots as the lips. A human figure presented to the child will love to eat it. And along with, the child is having so many nutrients as a nutritious items, food items at a time. I show it to you when I meet you personally in your college. I'll show how to do it. Then roasted Bengal gram. Roasted Bengal gram powder, chattu, may be mixed with boiled mashed potatoes and made into small flat tikkiyas. Crushed roasted peanuts, small quantity may be added to make them more tasty and more nutritious. These tikkiyas are shallow fried, mind you. Deep fried items are not suitable for children. For children's health, always shallow fry. Shallow fry on a tawa or a non-stick pan on low heat and served as snacks or given as a part of school tiffin. You don't have to buy cheap cakes from the market. Mothers can offer these items as school tiffin. Dalia khichdi. Dalia is made of whole wheat. Whole wheat, the clinical nutrition people will know what dalia contains. Rich source of vitamin. In place of rice, dalia can be used for preparing khichdi. Recipe I'll send you later. Then vegetables can be added to the khichdi for better taste and better nutrition. Some potatoes, seasonal vegetables, okay, carrots, even pumpkins. Pumpkins are also good. Then carrot halwa, gajar ka halwa. Carrots are a very good source of vitamin A, you all know. During the month when carrots are cheaper, This halwa can be easily prepared at home with milk and sugar. The recipe I'll send you later. That means the quantities, the proportions. Children will love this sweet better than any other sweets purchased from the market. Because the sweets that you purchase from the market, you do not know whether it is prepared with fresh ingredients or stale ones. You never know. Mothers are to be motivated by your students to try such homemade food items and at comparatively low cost, which will supply the required nutrients to their children. In an urban slum, there is remarkable lack of civic sense. Throwing garbage at the doorstep or in front of the neighbor's doorstep is very common. Our students are to point out the evil effects of such habits. That is environmental education. That should also become a part of your welfare programs, because if the environment is not clean, you can't expect wealth in that particular area.
Can I have a minute, Beladi? Beladi, can I have a minute? Beladi,
Yes.
টাইমটা আর কতটুকু আছে আপনার স্পিচ?
খুব অল্প, একটা প্যারাগ্রাফ আছে।
Okay, but so we'll take questions after that? After your...
Yes.
Okay.
Then I mention only one thing, that for keeping healthy, which is our aim during this National Nutrition Month, we should also help community people to increase their income. So some income generating programs should also be suggested. Very easy programs are there which do not need much of education, but only some perseverance and intention, the good intention of joining such programs. There are plenty of training programs offered by various welfare institutions. We are having some such training programs. I can talk to you later on these training programs, which can be introduced in our adopted rural areas or the slums. So let us conclude by saying that cultural events also will be included, not only nutrition education, but cultural programs which will keep them alive, you see, keep them alive, keep them in good spirit, because mental health is associated with physical health. If we want healthy children, their mental conditions should also be considered. Occasionally, our college students will organize cultural events with boys and girls of the slum areas, rural areas, and thus make them more enthusiastic and interested in the services they wish to render to help such people lead a more meaningful and better life, and thereby take an active part in our onward march to progress and prosperity. Thank you. Now, let the students ask me questions, if there is any.
Okay, thank you, ma'am, for your precious time. Thank you so much, Bela ma'am, for your precious time. We are very lucky to have you today among us for sharing your knowledge and experience regarding so many different topics like kitchen gardening, low-cost nutritious recipes for children, and role of student volunteers in community nutrition. Please do mail us the immunization schedule and soya recipes, as you said. May I now request IQAC members Dr. Bolori Rai Chaudhary and Dr. Gautam Mahata to kindly conduct the first round of question and answer session for our respected speaker, Srimati Bela Bose. Maybe we can restrict the questions up to 2 since we are running out of time, and rest maybe can be mailed to madam and she can reply via mail for the remaining questions if there are extra questions. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Pratasha, please put Beladi's mail ID in the chat box.
Yes, I'll do that.
Yes, continue, please. Gautam and Bolori.
Again, I want to give thanks Srimati Bela Bose for giving such an enthusiastic and motivational lecture on nutritional social and environmental awareness. Madam, today there are so many participants are there, but in the chat box I've not found any question. But I want to ask you a question that actually in rural areas, actually we have a NSS unit in our college, but in rural areas, how can we actually conduct such as economic development in different areas? Suppose you are talking about your tactile experiences, nutritional awareness, and even environmental awareness. Actually, we have really NS unit is really that is working hard in different areas because we have in 7 days camp, especially in we have actually done waterborne disease even during even recently in years where in southeast different areas have they have flood affected during that time, and our NSS students have helped them, try to help them in various ways. At the same time, in Corona, during even it is continuing. At this time, also our students are trying to help people in different ways. But my experience is that how they will conduct their work uh, in actually in different rural areas, practical. How is it possible?
Beladi, did you get the question, Beladi?
Yes. Yes.
Hello.
Gautam was asking Beladi how to conduct these programs in the village areas.
How to find?
Yes, how to conduct these activities, that is social service activities, community
Village
activities.
area, we should first contact the panchayat office. We must find out the village under which panchayat the village is located. Okay. Under which panchayat.
And then?
Yes. To locate the panchayat, talk to them. First, we obtain the permission of the panchayat and give them the idea of
Yes, Beladi, we can
yes.
hear you, Beladi. Continue, please. I think Beladi is what's the problem?
Disconnected হয়ে গেছে বোধহয়।
Disconnect. ভীষণ নেটওয়ার্ক ইস্যুস আছে আজকে।
আমার মনে হয়
নেটওয়ার্ক,
হ্যাঁ আমার মনে হয় গৌতম, আমার মনে হয় যে আমরা পঞ্চায়েত এলাকার কথাটা তো খুব বেশি ভাবতে পারবো না। দিদি যদি আমাদের একটু গাইড করেন কিভাবে আমরা কলকাতার আশেপাশে কাজগুলোকে একটু করতে পারি, তাই না?
সেটা হলো ভালো, সেটাও
এগিয়ে নেওয়ার জন্য আমাদের
বিশেষ করে এই বিষয়ে, বিশেষ করে নিউট্রিশনাল অ্যাক্টিভিটিস বা আদার্স যে এনভায়রনমেন্টাল অ্যাক্টিভিটিস যেগুলো করা সম্ভব হয়।
There is a question in the chat box also.
এডুকেশনালের সাথে উনি যেটা বললেন যে মানে কালচারাল দিকটাও সত্যি মানে দুটোই এনরিচমেন্টটা দরকার আর কি, না হলে তাদের টোটাল একটা ডেভেলপমেন্ট
সম্ভব হচ্ছে না। হ্যাঁ,
ডেভেলপমেন্টও দরকার টুগেদার উইথ অ্যাওয়ারনেস।
আচ্ছা, এখানে একজন একটা প্রশ্ন লিখেছেন, শ্রী অতনু গাঙ্গুলির একটি প্রশ্ন আছে যে কোনো এনজিও জানা থাকলে জানতে চাইছেন।
হ্যালো
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 বেলাদি has come back. Yes, বেলাদি শুনুন
হ্যালো
আপনাকে। হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, আপনাকে শোনা যাচ্ছে। বেলাদি, you are audible. Please continue with the answer to the question that was put to you. Yes, Beladi, we can hear you.
Hello.
Yes,
শোনা যাচ্ছে?
Beladi.
শোনা
Beladi,
যাচ্ছে
we can hear you. You are audible.
আচ্ছা, নেটওয়ার্কের প্রবলেম হচ্ছে।
Beladi, we cannot see you, but we can hear you.
নেটওয়ার্ক ইস্যু হচ্ছে মনে হচ্ছে।
Hello.
হ্যাঁ বেলাদি, ইউ আর অডিবল। বেলাদি, শুনতে পাওয়া যাচ্ছে আপনাকে। হ্যালো বেলাদি, আমাদের শুনতে পাচ্ছেন আপনি? বেলাদি,
আমার মনে হয় না,
আমার মনে হয় শুনতে
উনি
পাচ্ছেন না।
বোধহয় আমাদেরটা শুনতে পাচ্ছেন না।
হ্যাঁ,
সেটা
উনি
অসুবিধা
সেটা
হচ্ছে।
একটা হতে পারে।
শুনতে
একটা ফোন
পাচ্ছেন
করা
না।
যেতে পারে
আবার
কি?
কোনো কারণে মিউট হয়ে গেছেন উনি।
Can you
No.
call her, Sanchita di?
হ্যাঁ করছি।
উনি তো আনমিউট অবস্থাতেই রয়েছেন, ভিডিওটা অফ আছে।
উনি তো আনমিউটই আছেন।
আনমিউটই রয়েছে, ওনার ভিডিও অফ আছে।
হ্যালো বেলাদি, হ্যাঁ বেলাদি, আপনাকে তো শুনতে পাচ্ছি আমরা, আপনি আমাদের কথা শুনতে পাচ্ছেন না? আচ্ছা, আমি গৌতমকে বলছি প্রশ্নটা করতে। গৌতম, প্রশ্ন করো তুমি ওনাকে, উনি আছেন। হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ।
আচ্ছা, না যেটা আমরা বলতে চাইছিলাম, যেটা হচ্ছে আমাদের তো অলরেডি এনএসএস ইউনিট রয়েছে। এবার এই এনএসএস ইউনিটকে আমরা কিভাবে আমাদের যে পাশাপাশি যে আরবান এলাকার যে আমাদের কলেজের কাছাকাছি যে বিভিন্ন স্লাম এরিয়াস গুলো রয়েছে, সেগুলোকে আমরা বিশেষ করে এই প্রসঙ্গে নিউট্রিশন রিলেটেড বা এনভায়রনমেন্ট রিলেটেড, ইভেন যেগুলো আমাদের বিভিন্ন রকম কালচারাল অ্যাক্টিভিটিস গুলো, সেগুলোকে কিভাবে মানে ওই জায়গাগুলোতে এই প্রসঙ্গে আমরা কিভাবে কাজ করতে পারি। মানে আমরা কিছু কাজ করেছি না বলে নয়, কিন্তু যেগুলো আমরা ধারাবাহিক ভাবে করে উঠতে পারি না, তাই মানে বিভিন্ন সময় হয়তো কিছুদিনের জন্য কি করেছি এরকমই হয়েছে।
বেলাদি, আপনি শুনতে পেলেন? বেলাদি, আপনি কোয়েশ্চেনটা শুনতে পেলেন?
She is disconnected. She is not in the chat, in the participants list.
Yeah, then she won't be able to answer. I
তাহলে
think
আমরা
we
can,
actually,
হ্যাঁ বলো।
Asha, we can take the questions in the chat box and take them and send it to her mail.
আমার মনে হয় আমরা একটু পরের সেশনটায় চলে যাই।
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ,
নাকি?
হ্যাঁ ম্যাডাম,
সেটাই মনে হয় ভালো হবে।
কোনো কারণে উনি আবার একটুখানি হয়ে গেছেন। বক্তৃতাটা তো খুব সুন্দর দিয়েছেন, খুব মানে পরিষ্কার একদম শোনা গেছে। ফলে আমার মনে হয় আমরা সব স্পিকারও রয়েছেন এবং অডিয়েন্সও রয়েছে, ফলে আমরা পরেরটাতে চলে যাই। ওনার কোয়েশ্চেনস গুলো তোমরা কালেক্ট করে রাখো, তারপর
কালেক্ট করে রাখো।
ওকে,
আমার মনে হয় ওনাকে একটু ফোন করেও বলে নেওয়া যাক যে আমরা একটু we are moving over to the next speaker, we'll wait for her till the end. If at the end if somebody has a question, we can put it to her.
Okay, so as we Sanchita di move kori tahle next session. Okay, thank you. So as we move on to the second part of today's event, I request IQAC member Dr. I.B. Dey To kindly introduce our speaker, Mr. Uritra Khan. Dr. Ivy there.
Okay, good evening. I welcome you, Mr. Uritra Khan, to our webinar today. And for our participants, a few words of introduction. Mr. Khan is a clinical nutritionist, diabetes and heart failure patient educator. He is also a cardiology and renal nutrition expert. He's an eminent nutritionist and television personality, currently attached with KPC Medical College and Hospital as guest lecturer in the Department of Clinical Nutrition, Clinical Dietetics and Community Nutrition. Currently, he is also a scientific nutrition advisor in the Research and Development Department of Niji Pharmaceuticals. He is the founder of Aritra's Diet and Nutrition. He has been practicing in the field of clinical and therapeutic nutrition for more than 10 years and has specialized in bariatric nutrition. He has been associated with lots of corporate companies like Ruchi Nutrella, Apollo Life, Apollo Munich, IBM, and Schneider Electric as a corporate health nutritionist. Apart from this, he has been a guest nutritionist in a lot of electronic media like ABP Anando, Z24 Ghanta, News 18 Bangla, print media like Bortoman, Ajkal, India Today. He himself worked as a health-related program designer and executor of 91.2 YFM. Besides all this, I may add that he is a passionate singer and a trained Rabindra Sangeet artist. So we welcome you, sir, to deliver a talk on the topic, Medicine and Diet, a Health Proton. Welcome, sir.
Good evening. Am I audible and visible both?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. IVT, for your lovely introduction. And it's really my privilege and pleasure that Gokhale Memorial Girls College, they are celebrating the National Nutrition Month, which is so relevant. And we do celebrate it in every year in the month of September. So these are also celebrated. So, I am just sharing the slides, and the topic is medicine and diet and the drug-nutrient interactions, most probably for our students who can listen to it. So let me share the slide, please. My screen are visible?
Yes.
Okay. So today's topic is the drug nutrient and the drug food interactions. So this is very common topic because we know our learned dietitian friends, all the faculties and all the practicing dietitians, they always try to see a doctor's prescription first before making a diet prescription, because we always used to follow what the diagnosis been happened for a particular patient. So that is so important that we need to know what are the drugs basically doctors or physicians can prescribe for this particular patient, and what's the actual diagnosis happened to a patient if he wants to give for a medical nutrition therapy or clinical diet chart prescription for the given patient. So in that cases, the drugs and the pharmaceuticals so important for a dietitian to need to know. Dietitians are supposed to not write any drugs or any medicine, but they need to know what about the action and what are the nutrient interaction with this particular drug. So in that contrast, we try to show different slides that we can see the which drug and which particular nutrient has to interact with each other, and that it could be a combined and it could be an onset therapy for a given patient. So what is basically the drug nutrient interaction? Suppose for any given point of time, a doctor prescribes a particular drug, maybe he or she will say, this drug you will take after food, this drug you will take in empty stomach, this drug you will take, within a day, this drug you will take before bedtime, this drug you will take in empty stomach in early morning. So why? Because all the drugs have their, the separate half-life. So what is the half-life basically? The half-life means it is a particular the absorption timing and the drug action. Okay, so different drugs has.
Excuse me, dietitian, Richard Khan, somebody has written in the chat box that your voice is not clear. Can you be louder? Is it possible to increase the volume?
Am I audible right now?
Yeah, you are audible.
Okay, great. Okay, so they can increase their volume because I am the microphone. Definitely, I am audible. So they can increase their particular device volume, maybe laptop or phone. So in that cases, actually the drug actions. So there are the two terms basically. If we talk about the drug interaction with the food, there are pharmacokinetics and the pharmacodynamics. So what is the pharmacokinetics basically? The pharmacokinetics basically the drug intake, drug absorption, drug metabolism, and drug excretion. So this drug absorption, metabolism, excretion is all linked to the pharmacokinetics. And pharmacodynamics basically the drug action. What I talked about the half-life, this half-life basically the drug action. Maybe our particular drug half-life is 12 hours. The particular drug half-life is 24 hours. Particular drug half-life is 8 hours. So different drugs have their different half-life. In that cases, we have to know which drug particularly have what is the timing of their half-life. Now, the drug and drug food interactions is very important that we are discussing. The benefits of the minimizing their interaction and effect of the malnutrition on drugs. So those are so important the learning objectives that we will try to shed the light on into this topic. So what is bioavailability? Bioavailability that we know very well, that the degree to which a drug or the substance reaches the circulation and becomes available to the target organ or tissue. Suppose we are taking a amount of drug, particular dosage of drug. Suppose I'm giving an example. There are particular drug is called the levothyroxine sodium. Doctors, the physician, used to prescribe this drug basically to treat for the hypothyroidism. We know the hypothyroidism T3, T4, TSH, and they are in the correction of the T4 thyroxine hormone. And this is basically a hormone, and the people used to take with the medication levothyroxine sodium. There's different brand name we know, used to the brand name Eltroxin, Hydronorm, Uthyr, different brand names are available in the market. And doctor used to write the drug early in the morning in empty stomach. Early in the morning in the empty stomach, and they try to follow to the patients, not all the doctor. This is the role of a dietitian to educate the patient that if you take this drug in empty stomach, then you have to give at least 1 hour transit period, 1 hour washout period. Including this 1 hour, you will not allowed to take any other PPI, any calcium, any vitamin, any food, any beverages, nothing. Okay, because what will happen if he or she takes, the patient takes any kind of food or any kind of drink with the drug after 10 minutes, after 15 minutes, the bioavailability is not up to the mark. The drug will not probably absorb. The absorption will be basically key to seek for the drug. Maybe doctor has written 75 mg of levothyroxine sodium. Then if you take the beverages, tea, coffee, any other drugs, within 10 to 15 minutes, maybe it will absorb 30 mg, 20 mg like that. So this is bioavailability is so important in that, because the physicians and doctors, they're very busy for the what I will say, the diagnosis part, the blood report part, the other part. So they maybe doesn't have too much of time to educate for a patient. But for a dietitian, a clinical dietitian who practices in the hospitals, like, I'm working in the KPC Medical College in hospital, and in the cases that our interns used to go for all the wards, all the different surgical wards, different OPDs, and they used to see the doctor's prescription, doctor's clinical file, which drug is being prescribed. Because knowing, need to knowing, if nobody will stop to know anything, you can know. Okay, that is so important, because I was from the Berkeley Health in Lajpat Nagar, New Delhi, for the heart failure courses. In that cases, we need each and every medicine that we have to know properly, the mechanism, the action, the site of actions, anything. So you have to know this thing. Half-life, what I've discussed, the half-life, the amount of time it takes for the blood concentration of a drug to decrease by 1/2 of its steady state level. So that is so important that we have to know the action of the particular drug. Maybe it's 12 hours, maybe it's 24 hours, maybe it's 8 hours. So half-life is different drugs are different. Then the side effect. The side effect is so important, but I mean to say this so highlightly, there is a difference between side effects and the adverse events. Because side effect and adverse event or adverse effect is not the similar. Maybe to some extent is similar, but they are different. Suppose if we talk about the side effects, like there is a particular drug, the slide level, but because people know this drug basically predominantly used for for the male impotency, erectile dysfunction in that cases. But this drug potentially used for the portal arterial hypertension. This is a cardiological drug. This is not the drug for the sexual dysfunction drug. This is a cardiological drug. People, doctors, cardiologists use these drugs to treat arterial hypertension. This is a side effect. Maybe side effect after having the particular medication, patient may be little obese. Those who are underweight, so maybe this obesity will help them to gain some weight. So side effects maybe doesn't need always the medical intervention. Doesn't need always the medical intervention. But the adverse event is an untoward event. This needs always the medical intervention. Suppose I'm talking about the drug predominantly used for the heart failure patient. It's called the ARNI. ARNI is the angiotensin receptor of neprilysin inhibitor. This is the drug is called the ARNI. And if the patient is taking ARNI prolonged time, then the doctor used to see their renal function test, because after having the ARNI, patient having some problem with hyperkalemia, maybe CKD1, maybe other problem. So in that cases, the medical intervention should be there. And also, if a person like me as a heart failure patient counselor, if he doesn't know what is ARNI used for, then I'm not much more of cautious of prescribing the potassium-rich food and protein-rich food. Okay, maybe I'm giving too much of supplement. Maybe I'm giving too much of the clinical nutraceutical. So we have to know why ARNI is used for. So in that cases, medical intervention is very much important if this prescribe this kind of drug. Again, I'm saying, suppose ARNI, previously for the treating for a heart failure treatment, doctor used to write enalapril, any kind of AC inhibitor, Cardase and all the AC inhibitors. AC inhibitors full form is angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors. If we talk about the RAS pathway, renin angiotensin aldosterone pathway or mechanism, we can see what is the function of the all the AC inhibitor like angiotensin, angiotensin 1, ARB and all those things. So if you talk about the medicine, the action of the medicine, we can get to know about these inhibitors, roles of the inhibitors. So this is the another part I'm not discussing today. So what is the problem? Suppose a patient with even Cardase or angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors. If the patient is taking the Cardase and doctor writes ARNI, then patient has to wait for 36 hours. 36 hours to start ARNI. Not the same day, not the next. Suppose I'm taking AC inhibitor. I have taken today morning Cardase or any enalapril or any kind of AC inhibitors. And doctor prescribed in this time, doctor have prescribed me the ARNI. I'm not going for starting from tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, I will not take AC inhibitor again. And day after tomorrow, I will take this ARNI. What will happen? What the ARNI and the AC inhibitors conjugate together and angioedema will happen. Angioedema means swelling of face, swelling of feet, body swelling, and the patient might be going for death also. So in that cases, this half-life, this side effect, this adverse event, side effects are so different. So all the terms maybe sound like synonymical terms, maybe such as like given an example like heart failure and heart attack, which is too different. Heart failure is basically a pumping problem. Heart not enough to pump properly for the blood pumping, and heart attack means there is a death of the cardiac tissues and for supplying a lack of oxygen, lack of nutrients, and patients. So this may be listened like very similar: heart failure, heart attack, adverse event, side effect. But if we talk about the medical terminology, it's different. Now we're talking about the bioavailability, this percentage free to function, absorption rate, percentage of absorbent time for absorption, transported like amount in blood is free or bound, metabolized, altered by enzymes in tissues, mixed function oxidase systems, MFOS, enzyme system that metabolize drugs, carcinogens, compounds in food, etc. and etc. Now we'll talk about the pharmacokinetics. So this is the pharmacokinetics, the absorption, the distribution, the metabolism, and excretion, both all are important. Like if we talk about the tyramine, if we talk about a tyramine basically found in cured meat, different processed meats and cheese and all those things. But people are taking SSRI, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, like all the anti-anxiety, depression, this kind of drugs. And also they are taking this tyramine-rich food because these tyramine are basically a vasoconstrictor. So what will happen if a patient is taking this too much of vasoconstrictor with these Maah inhibitors, monoamine inhibitors, these Maah inhibitors, SSRI drugs, then the blood pressure will rise. Patient go for a hypertensive patient, the HDL patient. So that's why the tyramine-rich food shouldn't be prescribed when a patient is taking Maah inhibitors or SSRI, such kind of drugs. Same as mineralocorticosteroids. Mineralocorticosteroids like spironolactone, aldactone, this kind of drug. Basically, potassium sparing effects will happen. If you're taking too much of this kind of drug, maybe patient leads to hyperkalemia. So if the patient is taking this mineralocorticosteroid, spironolactone, aldactone, this kind of drug, they are basically a potassium restricted food for the time they are administering this kind of medication. Look, drug administration, what I am talking about, the absorption, distribution, metabolism, excretion, these processes are remain same. We will discuss what is absorption, what is distribution, what is metabolism, and what is excretion basically. But the different absorption sites are different. The absorption, the sites are different. So that is so different because we can't the same drug action like a PPI drug and also cardiologic drug. So that is different. But the process, if we talk about the pharmacokinetics, that is same for each and every drug. What is absorption? The route of administration, maybe the oral administration, maybe sometimes in IV administration, these are there. The chemistry of the drug and its ability to the cross membrane, the rate of gastric emptying for the oral drug and the GI movement. We know all the gastric emptying is so important because we talk about the gastric emptying in that cases, the GI problem, GI trouble, the quality of the product formulation, food components and the nutritional supplements can interfere with absorption, especially if the drug is taken orally. If we talk about the nutritional supplement, like we'll talk about the nutraceutical or the clinical food widely available in the market, but a patient can't club together a nutritional supplement and the drug and take it together. It is not advisable. Drug timing, drug with water, drug with chewable form, that is so different when a doctor used to prescribe and they have to adhere what the physician saying. Dietitian will never say the drug timing and that should be depends on a doctor, but dietitian will say the nutrient interaction with the particular drug and they have a right to discuss about the nutrients first on distribution. So what is the distribution basically? The distribution is when the drug leaves the systematic circulation and moves to various parts of the body. Drugs in the bloodstream are often bound to plasma proteins. Only unbound drugs can leave the blood and affect the target organ. Low serum albumin can increase availability of drugs and potentiate their effect. So distribution is so important. The circulation, the drug, going to the blood plasma proteins. That is so important for a drug distribution part. Metabolism, like we know all the food metabolism in the drug metabolism, the biotransformation that is also happened primarily in the liver. Basically, there is a particular enzyme that is cytochrome P450, CYPT450 enzyme that basically are enzyme present in the liver that facilitates the drug metabolism. Metabolism generally changes the fat-soluble compounds to the water-soluble compound that can be excreted. So this excretion depends on the half-life. Suppose if you talk about the ARNI, I'm just giving the example ARNI. When a particular drug is ARNI, like ARNI 50, then ARNI 50 means ARNI 25, 12 hours, 25, 12 hours. So this 50. So this 100, the same thing, this half-life. So it depends on the half-life. The excretion, this part is dependent on the half-life. Foods or dietary supplements that increase or inhibit these enzyme systems can change the rate of extent of the drug metabolism. So we have to see which particular dietary supplement is going on, because there are some cases. If we talk about the drug like warfarin, if we talk about drug like Coumadin, if we talk about the drug like acetron, these are the drugs are basically the blood thinner, and we know vitamin K have a role at the anticoagulant effect. The anticoagulant effect of a role. So basically, the vitamin K are basically inducing the activity of the anticoagulants. So in that case, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. Please continue.
Okay. So in that cases, what is the role of the vitamin K? The vitamin K rich foods like phenylgalvaquinine, menaquinine, and all the foods. We're talking about the scientific names. They are basically good for the anticoagulation. But a patient is taking the drug, basically warfarin, Coumadin, acetron. In that cases, then they have to restrict the vitamin K rich food. Look, I'm saying sometimes definitely medical professional like doctors, physicians, they are good friends and good supports. Sometimes some doctors write in the prescription, okay, I have prescribed the warfarin, acetron, then dietitian, you should always go for the vitamin K restriction. I think you should avoid the vitamin K. So, but not all the doctors will write these things. Okay, so in that cases, we have to know which drug is basically administered. Now, our students also in KPC. So we always try to see that you have to calculate. You have to calculate the nutritive value, because I have formally ausculted about what Bella ma'am said. And really, I just gone for my college days. Such a teacher. It's a lovely speech she has been done. That all the food groups, important of the food group, that is the primary role of a dietitian. But if a dietitian works in the hospital setup, works in the ICU, different ward, cardiology setup, because I worked in the cardiology setup in New Delhi. In that cases, they have to know in particular which drugs are available and which drugs are going for this drug nutrient interaction. That is so important. So this is the way the food and dietary supplement that increase or inhibit these enzyme systems can change the rate of extent of the drug metabolism. What is the pharmacodynamics? Physiological and biochemical effects of a drug or combination of the drug. The mechanism of action, how a drug works, that is so important. Often the drug molecule binds to a receptor enzyme or the ion channel, producing a physiological response. I have just put in an example a couple of minutes back, the ARNI. The same thing when the doctor used to prescribe ARB. What is ARB? Angiotensin receptor blocker. If we go for the the lower chart of the RAS pathway, renin-angiotensin pathway, we can see the ARB. ARB basically we know all the charts. Sartan, suffix with sartan, telmisartan, olmesartan. If you don't know the company's name, Telma and all those things, you people know very well this drug. Basically, maybe our parents, grandparents, people who are very senior taking this drug. Nowadays, not a senior, a junior. If we put example of the Siddharth Shukla, oh my God, a 40 years old guy, and has been died for the cardiac arrest. So this is so unfortunate incident happened. So in that cases, so this is so very common name. So in ARB, a doctor prescribe a heart failure patient the ARB that doesn't need any washout. Just stop the ARB, start that. What I have discussed in AC inhibitors need 36 hours washout period, the same drug. AC inhibitors, same drug for the hypertension. ARB is the same drug for the hypertension, but there is no research at all for the beta blocker and other drugs also. I'm taking two examples. One is AC inhibitors, like all the LOL, like metoprolol, propranolol, enalapril, all that kind of things. Sorry, the pril kind of thing. LOL is something different, beta blocker. And the AC inhibitors like sartan, like telmisartan, olmesartan, that is second example. So sartan and the pril, these two. So pril is the AC inhibitors and sartan is the ARB. So AC inhibitors need 36 hours washout period, but sartan ARB doesn't need washout period. Stop the ARB, start that. So in that cases, the different drugs have different effects. Genetically determined variation that are revealed solely by the effects of drug. Affect only a subset of people. Example like G6PD, glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase enzyme, deficiency, warfarin resistance, and the slow inactivations of the isoniazid IHN or the phenyl. So this kind of drug should be an example. So what is glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase enzyme deficiency? So basically, X chromosome link can lead to the neonatal jaundice. We know if we talk about the icterus, the infective hepatitis, we can see there are three kinds of jaundice: neonatal jaundice, viral hepatitis, obstructive jaundice. So after birth, there is some jaundice, neonatal jaundice, hemolytic anemia, acute hemolysis. Most common in Africa, Middle Eastern, South Asian, also called the fabisin. Fabisin, we know the faba beans and all those things. Pollen, vitamin K, vitamin C can cause the hemolysis. CYP236 is metabolized 25% of the drug, including many antidepressants, antipsychotics, and the narcotics. Slow metabolites at risk for the toxicity and the adverse drug effect. Fast metabolites have the unpredictable response. Drug genotyping in future will help determine the most effective mate for the individual, because we know that this genotyping and all the drug different codes are there in that cases that is so different from the individual. So what is the drug nutrient interaction? The drug nutrient interaction is a reaction between a medicine or one or more nutrients and the vitamins and minerals that are in the food you eat. Vitamins and minerals nourish your body, help keep you healthy, and reduce the risk for the chronic diseases. When a medicine interacts with a nutrient, it can keep the medicine from the working properly, and it can also decrease or increase the amount of nutrient in our body. Suppose there are a particular fruits, it is not available in our India very rapidly, but we used to know this fruit like grapefruit. We know Joshti Modhu, like licorice, Bouts, and all the things. So these are basically a potential inhibitors for a drug action. So there are very common drugs. We'll come to this part. There are very a few drugs which basically reacts with the grapefruit, reacts with the citrus fruits, reacts with the natural licorice, reacts with the alcohol, reacts with the caffeinated beverage, and also the high fructose corn syrup, the aerated beverage, like carbonated beverage. So in these cases, these particular things like carbonated beverage, caffeinated beverages, natural licorice, grapefruit should be avoided when you go for a particular drug. I will come to drug wise name and we'll discuss it. I'm discussing the supplement interactions. According to the US Food and Drug Administration, 75% of Americans take dietary supplements. A dietary supplement, a vitamin, mineral, or herb you take, you improve your health or wellness. However, when taken with prescription or over-the-counter medication, dietary supplements can cause bad side effects. Supplements can affect the way a medicine acts or the way that body absorbs, use, or get rid of. So in the case of supplements, a different chapter. Like pharmacology are different chapters for our MBBS students. Maybe we try to read the pharmacology, maybe our another chapter or our additional chapter, elective chapter. But in medical students, this is very not elective. This is compulsory paper for them. They used to study of these things. Again, the dietary supplement that has to be studied properly, because different supplements have different role. The same supplements are available for a diabetic patient is not goes for a diabetic nephropathy patient. There is a different supplement. A same supplement can goes for a baby which is underweight, a failure to thrive, is not going for the proper height and weight according to their age, but not goes for the same thing. A baby is basically, the casein-free, lactose-free, glucose-free, and all the diets. So there may be a semi-elemental, elemental form for the particular food. Maybe a patient is taking a drug, taking a supplement for a normal healthy weight, but the same supplement maybe are not forming the EN, like enteral nutrition, like tube feeding solution, blenderized form, and also homogeneous food. So maybe a different supplement. So the osmolarity, the renal solute load, all these are so important, because blindly we can't keep this these supplements, because a different gym, not all the gyms. I'm not going the gym business. I'm not against the gym business and all those things. But this is a fact. But we have seen basically the hospital people that they're taking too much of supplements like creatinine supplement, whey protein supplements, because a protein, the calculation of the protein, the actual body weight multiply 1.2 grams of protein is the actual protein, the protein intake. But a person doesn't need 300 grams of protein, 400 grams of protein. This is so absurd. So what will happen? This is the proteinuria, the chronic kidney disease, glomerulonephritis, and patient ended up with the end stage renal disease, ESRD. Maybe patient ended up with the chronic infective hepatitis. This kind of problem may happen. So dietary supplements cannot be OTC. That should be written, prescribed by a physician or a clinical dietitian. They have to write the dietary supplement, and the dosage are so important. Like if you talk about the basically a particular condition like IBS, Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, in that cases, doctor used to prescribe, and we used to suffer, because I have been studied in my fellowship that there are a particular diet we used to call low Fodmap diet, low fructooligosaccharides, low polyols, this kind of diet. So not all the food, maybe dietary fiber are so important, but in the low residue diet and low Fodmap diet, dietary fiber will not work. So in that cases, we have to know that which particular food groups, which particular disease and diagnosis happen. In that cases, we have to write, we have to see a doctor's prescription, a doctor's, what I will say, description, and maybe a discharge certificate getting from the hospital. Interaction that already have been discussed, that definitely a physician, a doctors used to write these things. I'm not repeating of these things. The complex interaction between food and nutrients, the drug-defined substance used in the diagnosis, treatment, prevention of a disease, or component of a medication. There are many dramatic results and problems that may be caused by the food-drug, drug-drug, alcohol-food drug interaction, as these vary from person to person. So it's so important that drug-nutrient, this interaction, food-drug interaction, that solely we have to know for the onset of a treatment. We already been discussed, again, to sum up the drug absorption, food or nutrients in the stomach or intestine may act to reduce the absorption of a drug, delaying digestion, binding to minerals found in the food, or adhering to the food particles. In the other cases, the food may promote drug absorption. Drug breakdown, food may act to enhance the inhibit the metabolism of the certain drugs in the body. Drug excretion, food and nutrients may act to alter the reabsorption and excretion of drugs from the kidney. That we know very well, the NSAIDs, non-steroid anti-inflammatory drugs, we are not solely taken, but maybe sometimes we try to force to our doctor to write, oh, it's for us a painkiller, but that is not done, because this excretion rate is too high and it leads to the liver problem and kidney problem at the end of the time, prolonged usage. Okay, so that's why the painkiller, okay, is a SOS, is not a periodic drug. Certain food components can lead to the enhancement or opposition of the effects of some drug. Some examples of food and constituents found in the food include vitamins, minerals, fat, proteins, caffeine, or alcohol. We know the coffee, the tea, the bromohexane, bromoxanthin, all are so important for our adrenal cortex, our, the energy, everything. Different research. There are research been published from National Nutrition of India, NNNI, from Hyderabad. So that is good, but not all the food groups. Maybe the bronchodilator, the bradykinin effect, so important because this coffee, the caffeine is not always suggested. Basically, for the pregnant lady, the pregnant women, there are some publications is also there. There is a pregnant lady, pregnant women, not too much of the caffeinated beverage, alcoholic beverages, that is strictly stopped. Certain drugs may increase, decrease, or prevent nutrient absorptions in the gut. Nutrient breakdown drugs may speed up the metabolism of certain nutrient, resulting in higher dietary requirements of the particular nutrient. Drugs can increase or decrease the urinary excretion of nutrients. We have discussed the side effects of the drugs and other medication. Taste and smell alternation. Some drugs may alter one's ability to taste and smell certain food. Food intake may be altered due to alternation of the taste sensation. GI effects. Some drugs can cause irritation to the GI tract. That includes stomach upset, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, constipation, ulcer. Because if you talk about the antibiotic, there are different classes of antibiotics. We know there are penicillin are there, macrolides are there, quinolones are there, different classes of antibiotics are there. In that cases, a person is taking, maybe people sometimes feel allergic like sulfur drug allergy, penicillin drug allergy. But there are also doctors sometimes write the prescription like amoxicillin. They are dual antibiotic like amoxicillin, potassium clavulate. Maybe they are ampicillin. Maybe they are like MOX and all those things, the amoxicillin group of medication. But they can't identify the good bacteria and the bad bacteria. They will kill all the bacteria. And our large intestine, the gut side, they are really responsible for the good bacteria, which is called the probiotics. If you talk about the symbiotics, the combination of the prebiotic, fructooligosaccharides, and the probiotic, like Lactobacillus acidophilus, Bifidobacterium, and all the classical examples. So what will happen? They will kill all the bacteria. After 5 days of course of the antibiotic, patient may lead to the GI trouble, osmotic diarrhea, and other GI problem because they are lack of probiotics. So in that cases, maybe some doctors used to that because in that cases our dietitian role, if a doctor writing a particular drug like this group of penicillin group of antibiotics, we used to go for the the probiotic like card water, buttermilk, and all that. So in that cases, this drug and the food, it could be combined as a friend. I'm again saying the action might be different, but the mechanisms of action in different drugs are different. So in that cases, we have to follow the proper adherence and compliance of the drug. Organ toxicity, since many drugs must pass through the liver and kidney upon excretion, hepatotoxicity, liver damage, nephrotoxicity, kidney damage are of the primary concern. I've already been discussing this thing. Some drugs may affect blood glucose level by stimulating the production of the glucose or inhibiting by its uptake. Other drugs may inhibit the insulin secretion, decrease insulin sensitivity, or increase the insulin clearance from the blood. This may lead to condition like the hyperglycemia, that the high blood glucose level, diabetes, abnormal lipid levels. Suppose I'm showing the slides. There are particular drugs used to call the HMG CoA reductase or statin. Like we all know rosuvastatin, atorvastatin, all the statin. But initially, if a doctor sees the LDL level, because cholesterol, the total lipid profile is important, but LDL is so important. I have learned from my KPC days and from the Berkeley days that LDL is why important. This is responsible for the atherosclerotic plaque and the heart blockage. So in that cases, when a person is going for this kind of drug, they have to restrict the caffeine and all the things. But again, I'm saying if a person is not diabetic, maybe after prolonged use of this rosuvastatin, atorvastatin, different brand name are available in the market, but they can increase their blood glucose level, the hyperglycemia. Again, the same thing. I have done a program with some pharmaceutical company. couple of months back, like glucocorticosteroid, mineralocorticosteroid during the COVID period. Doctor used to write this steroid induced diabetes is also. So this is all about the, the drug adverse events and also to some extent side effects. That is so important, that needs to care the medical intervention when this comes for the drug adverse events. Benefits of the food-drug interaction: medications achieve their intended effects, improved compliance with medication, less need for the additional medications of the higher dosage, fewer caloric or nutrient supplements are required, adverse side effects are avoided. So in that cases will come some different drug and their role of action and interaction. Like allergies, we go for the antihistamine. If we talk about the histamine, if we go for our different food like banana, histamine rich food, prawns, lobsters, shrimps. So that should be a little bit of avoided. Okay. So take with water of the GI distress. There is some Allegra, orange, grapefruit juice that is very interact with particular drugs. So orange juice, grapefruit juice are typically no with the allergy kind of drug. So there are example Allegra, there are loratadine, cetirizine, we know levocetirizine, all are the classical example of the allergies medicine. If we talk about the arthritis and the pain, the analgesic, the antipyretic to treat the mild to moderate pain or the fever, rapid relief like caffeine may increase the rate of absorption of the drug. Avoid alcohol. Alcohol should be no. Okay, Calendal, Tempra, these are the very classical example of this drug. We discussed about the painkiller like NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. We talk about ibuprofen, we talk about the hyphenac, acylophenac in this particular drug. Check with food or water, and caffeine limit intake supplement, limit or avoid products like blood coagulation like garlic, ginger, horse chestnut, of this kind of thing should be avoided. Corticosteroids. This is the steroids basically to relieve inflamed areas of the body, reduce swelling and itching, allergies, rheumatoid arthritis, and other conditions. We can commonly say our newer condition like novel coronavirus, the COVID situation. Doctor is to write this corticosteroids for the patient. Take with food and milk to decrease the stomach upset. Limit grapefruit. See, grapefruit is always detrimental with the different many of the drugs. So grapefruit, while taking this drug, one need to decrease the sodium and supplement the diet with calcium, vitamin D, K, A, C, or protein. Limit intake of the caffeine, and they should be avoid alcohol. Prednisone, prednisolone, cortisone, all the very classical examples of the corticosteroids. Narcotic analgesic to provide relief for the moderate to severe pain. Take with the food or milk to decrease stomach upset. Avoid alcohol like Tylenol, morphine, coidine combined, the acetaminophen. These all of the examples. Asthma. If we talk about the asthma, they're basically the bronchodilators. Bronchodilators to treat the symptoms of the chronic pulmonary obstructive diseases, obstructive pulmonary diseases, COPD, bronchial asthma, emphysema, lung emphysema, this problem. So this is the basically we know if we talk about the lung, if we talk about our the diet for our lungs, diet for our heart, we always go for low carbohydrate. Why no carbohydrate food? Because lot of carbohydrate means lot of carbon dioxide. Again, I'm saying the post-COVID diet, I used to mention these things, not too much of protein. Not too much of protein. Acha prochur khao. You have to be a voracious eater. It couldn't be. The 1.2 gram per kg of actual body weight, it could be needed. And fat could be good amount of omega-3 fatty acid and all the essential fatty acid. So in that cases, we have to always calculate the respiratory quotient, the RQ. RQ is so important in that cases. Why this is respiratory quotient is important? Because in that cases, we have to take the particular food we are intaking. We have to go for the metabolism at the same time. Otherwise, what will happen? The asthma, COPD, because our lung capacity is too small. If we take a voracity like being eating a lot of food together, what will happen? The carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide will release, and that will go to our stomach because the oxygen saturation falls. All the newses you have to see these things. This oxygen is so needed. That will concentrate oxygen maintenance. So in that way, because while this is the COVID is a very burning topic, that's why I have mentioned this as now. Okay, different drugs also theophylline and all the drugs are important. Now we'll talk about the cardiovascular tract, the CVD tract. First is the diuretic. What is diuretics? Diuretic is basically water pill. Diuretics means basically a person of taking a particular drug with the diuretics, like a hypertensive patient taking diuretics means lot of urination. With lot of urination means excretion, and the patient needs to control their blood pressure. So that's why diuretics is so important. But again, I'm saying prolonged usage of diuretic, sometimes what will happen? Prolonged usage of diuretic, sometimes loss of all the electrolytes like sodium, potassium, magnesium, chloride. So in that cases, the diet could be a very rich in sodium-rich food, fruits, potassium-rich food, fruits, and also magnesium-rich food, fruits, and also chloride. So that is so important. But again, I'm saying a person is taking diuretics and patient has a kidney problem, CKD problem. Patient have a CKD like stage 3, stage 4. In that cases, potassium should be restricted. Depends on their blood potassium level. So this is what we are talking about, the theory. But practically, the patient to patient has a multi-problem. Patient have lot of comorbidities. Then we have to up-titrate. We have to calculate. That's why we are dietitian. We have to calculate. Because we know that we have to allow the potassium below 200 mg of potassium is 100 grams of serving. We try to avoid the more than 200 mg of 100 grams of rich food and fruits. So taking an empty stomach, since food is reduces the ability, take with the food and milk. Supplementation is important. Diuretics, this this orange, green leafy vegetables, the potassium basically rich foods are also prescribed. Cholesterol lowering drug. This is the basically Zocor, all the like statin kind of drug basically doctor used to prescribe. And cholesterol, the statin drug basically doctors prescribe the HS like after food, after dinner, before bedtime they used to take this. So in that cases, again the grapefruit, the citrus fruit, too much of high rich food, processed food, canned food, too much of saturated fat foods are restricted for the particular child. Again, a couple of weeks back, one of my publications has been published in Bottoman that the beneficial side of ghee definitely have a beneficial side because ghee is the class of the saturated fat. If we talk about the biochemistry of a saturated fat, means there is no double bond, only single bond is there. If a single bond is there, they are basically solid in room temperature, like ghee, dalda, vanaspati, cheese, butter, solid in room temperature. But again, ghee contains certain fatty acid, butyric acid, sometimes is good, but moderation is the key. That should be the limit. Okay, with too much of ghee, lot of ghee paratha, ghee kind of thing, a person's having a cholesterol problem, that is not recommended. Okay, so that has to be, something is no for a patient, but moderation is the key. Being a dietitian, our role to educate, to counsel to a patient with the proper medical nutrition, calorific, customized therapeutic guidelines for a patient. Because a diet chart is not like a piece of paper. Oh, 1200 calorie, 1200 calorie, 1400 calorie, 1600 calorie. Come, take a printout of a calorie. No, this is absolutely wrong because I have been so many places, not only in Kolkata, I have said in New Delhi also. That is so important that we have to always go for a proper manner, proper ABCD, like biochemistry, clinical features. Sometimes we have to see this, eyesight. We have to see this like toad skin is there. We have to see this pale skin because what Bella ma'am told about the community. We have a paper in public nutrition in our masters. This, we have to go for all the public, the community health population. Community health population that we have to see. What will happen? What happened? Toad skin is there. Vitamin A deficiency. Bite or spot is there. This xerophthalmia kind of thing is the deficiency is there. Berry, kwashiorkor for marasmus, protein energy malnutrition. So clinical side is so important. Nowadays we are divided because we are going for this online virtual side. What are we doing to do with this local Memorial Girls College? But that is not sometimes recommended because a clinician and a dietitian both are the clinical person. They have to see a patient and also the dietary habit because we can't prescribe for a higher income group family. We will take a muri and good jaggery. What the dietitian says, rubbish. They will not listen to you. But if a very poor income, very underprivileged, kind of a people, you can say, acha, next day we'll take one a spaghetti with the coleslaw salad with lot of broccoli, kale, and all this. What is saying is Hebrew or Latin kind of thing. So we have to go for the income group, the middle income group, lower income group, higher income group, and also what are the food they are dietary recall. Maybe they are vegetarian, maybe they are non-vegetarian, maybe they are vegan. In that case, if a person is vegan, vegan, then we have to relate with the vitamin, because vitamin B12, the cyanocobalamin, are typical found in the animal foods, the egg, fish, meat, and chicken. You are typically vegan, so how can you replace it with the vitamin B? That we have to. Okay, so this is the way we have to educate, because a dietitian is a dietitian, clinical dietitian, and not more of a psychological counselor. That is so important that we have to understand the patient psychology and we have to discuss about it. This should be customized. Beta blocker, this I'm talking about this kind of thing, the LOL, like atenolol, metoprolol, propanolol. We have to see the LOL, not just laugh out loud, right? It's a LOL is the suffix of the beta blocker that you have to remind of this drug. Like we know the STAMLO, all the classical beta blocker. Take with food with the increase this leporize, it may be necessary to decrease the dietary calcium, sodium, which may decrease absorption. Take 2 hours before and 6 hours the calcium supplement or the antacids, and the avoid alcohol. That is so important. Nitrates, we know the isosorbites, orbitals, and all those things to relax blood vessels and the lower the demand for the oxygen by the heart. The main symptoms is angina. Angina pectoris in that cases, doctor needs to prescribe the nitrates, this kind of drug. Take on an empty stomach with water increase absorption 1 hour before a meal or 2 hours after. Avoid alcohol. So alcohol is always strictly no for each and every drug, because if we talk about the alcohol mechanism, alcohol metabolism, this acetaldehyde formation, liver toxicity, it will trigger to different the cytochrome P650 enzyme. So alcohol is not at all recommended. Maybe there are lot of our internet site, lot of non-authentic publication. A glass beer খাবে তুমি পেট থাকবে, Facebook post, Instagram post, but there is no any kind of medical cities or research studies. So alcohol is strictly no for AC inhibitors. We're talking about the pill, captopril, enalapril, all the pill we have discussed. Take captopril, enalapril 1 hour before meals. Ensure adequate fluid intake. That is so important. Avoid slot, calcium, and also the natural liquids. Again, I'm saying this adequate fluid intake. It is very theoretical term. If a patient have an edema, like pedal edema, depression, like ascites, this kind of problem, then they have to monitor the fluid intake and urine output with the help of the doctor, and have to see what kind of the diuretics like furosemide, Ditor, any Glassix, any kind of prescription is there. Accordingly, you have to go for the fluid calculation. The fluid calculation is so important, and you have to educate to the patient. Fluid intake is not only the water, but also any kind of liquid item, maybe dal water, maybe curd water, maybe buttermilk, any kind of liquid item we are intaking, consider as fluid. So if doctor prescribes 1.5 liter fluid per day, it's not like 1.5 liter only jol, baki ami abar half liter ami onno kichu khabo, ডালের জল, দুধ জল, কিছু। It could be a total fluid intake that is there. HMG co-reductase, that is also discussed about the avoid grapefruit, stature, the decreased dietary fat, cholesterol lowering effect. So this is so important. Like we know that atorvastatin, rosuvastatin, the very common drug, Losuvas, Avas. This is very widely available in the market. Anticoagulants, I have discussed already. The vitamin K rich food. If we talk about the warfarin, Formagine, Acitrom, this kind of drug, we have to restrict the vitamin K rich food. Antibiotic, antifungal, in that cases, definitely we have to go for a proper plenty of water, and with the help of the the probiotics, prebiotics to treat the infection caused by the bacteria, fungi like penicillin, amoxicillin. In that cases, use caution when taking the vitamin K. Quinolols, we know quinolols like ciprofloxacin, ofloxacin, levofloxacin, this kind of quinol kind of drug. Caffeine shouldn't be there. Caffeine level basically leading to the exhibitor nervous. So caffeine products, the bromohexine, bromoxanthin, both are there. So basically the caffeine shouldn't be there for a patient who are taking levofloxacin, ofloxacin, ciprofloxacin, or the quinol groups of antibiotics. Cephalosporin basically treat the fungi. We know the cephalospore, cefixime, and all those things. So definitely we have to take the drug with the help of the doctor's prescription. Macrolides, we know, very common drug like azithromycin, githrosine, all the basically are macrolides group of drug. Avoid taking too much of citrus fruit juices, and also the carbonated beverages like aerated food drinks. Sulfonamide to treat the infection caused by the bacteria and fungi, that is not tetracycline. So take with an empty stomach. Basically, these are example like tetracycline, minosin are there. Nitromethazole, basically the metronidazole, fragile to treat infection caused by the bacteria or fungi, and also there are antifungal drugs. So different drugs, very common. What we can see for a take-home message that caffeinated beverages, natural licorice, the alcohol, maximum cases unknown if the patients are taking such medication. Now we'll talk about the Maah inhibitors. Basically, these are the neuropsychotic drugs, the monoamine oxidase inhibitors. I've already discussed that tyramine, basically a monoamine, tyramine, basically a vasoconstrictor. So if a patients are taking this SSRI kind of drug, they try to avoid the cheese, cured meat, and all those foods which are basically, sole source of the tyramine. Okay, so in that cases, we have to try to restrict of this particular food and foods. Anti-anxiety kind of drug like lorazepam, like Ativan. In that cases, like the caution, the supplemented like herbal products like kava, they are such as camelline. So not always herbs is good. Sometimes patients are going for different, the products. Okay, I'm not taking the name over here, but that is also dietitian prescribed. You should always seek for a qualified dietitian, not the price. So that is so important once the subject, the concern for taking the dietary supplement. Drug to different doctors will prescribe, but in terms of dietary supplement, dietitians would be the best person who can prescribe. Anti-depressant drug. This is the depression, emotional and anxiety disorder. We know that basically Prozac and all those things. Basically, you can support the SSRI, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, about mood basically. In that case, is chocolate, omega-3 fatty acids are so good sources. Stimulant, basically limit caffeine, ensure adequate calcium intake. Basically, they are Ritalin and all of that. Depression kind of drug like Zolidine, this is basically the selective hypotonic drugs. Stomach, in that case, is the GI trouble. Basically two classical drugs are there. One is histamine 2 blockers. We know the ranitidine, famotidine, this kind of drug, and there is the PPI. Proton pump inhibitors. We know the like esomeprazole, omeprazole, pantoprazole, these are the drugs. So in that cases, the vitamin B12 absorption is so important. We have to take care of these things. Caffeine product may irritate the stomach, and also you can see the same thing repeating, and the same thing that avoid. Seizures, the anticonvulsant, anti-epileptic, needy in Bengali. In that cases, the supplement with the calcium, vitamin D is very important. Equate to carbatrol, tegretol. We know this tegretol is very common drug. If a patient has a very psychological problem, and epileptic problem, in that cases, tegretol is good for this kind of drug. And this drug leads to obesity as well. In that cases, we have to always take care while calculating their diet prescription, because tegretol leads to overweight and obesity. But I've discussed talking about the cycle. So that is so important that we have to take care of this kind of drug. So these are the references I have, been taken on all the slides I have gone through. I've gone to so many places, but ma'am said this KPC Medical College, the Berkeley Health is in Lajpat Nagar, New Delhi, and I also worked with in many veteran cardiologists, Cardiology Society of India. I've worked with Dr. Sarfaraz Beg in Pediatric Society of India, and also I have seen all the drug and I have been given examinations with the drug interaction in that cases. So thank you so much for all the faculties, principal madam, and thank you so much Miss Pratasha Agarwal, for inviting me. Such a nice platform, and so the empirical session I have gone through. What madam told us is 89 years old. Oh my God, I don't know in that case in what I will be there in that particular time. But definitely all the step by step we have to go for. But the science are evolving, progressing. We have to catch it up. We have to go for all the research, and we have to go for all the medico-legal sites and the the authentic medical sites, not the normal the searching of the different internet site, Facebook, Twitter, and all. That could be our references. Thank you so much for your kind attention. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your enriching speech on the topic diet and medicine, and with a special emphasis on the role of dietitian in diet modification as per drug prescription. So as we move towards today's session's end, now I request the IQAC members, Dr. Nobomita Chakraborty and Dr. Saurabh Niyogi, to take up the second round of question and answer session for our speaker, Mr. Uritra Khan. And I would just remind participants to fill up the feedback form that will be available in chat box shortly, because that will be required for receipt of e-certificate.
Thank you very much, Protasha. It was an interesting session indeed, sir. My hearty thanks to our very honorable speaker, Mr. Khan, for his very illuminating lecture, and he has illuminated the meeting room for us with his with the light of his very rich lecture. Actually, I'm surprised that there are such a few number of questions from our students, but we have questions from we have quite a few questions actually. So the first question, sir, do I go ahead with the question?
Yes, yes, definitely.
Yes. So the first question is from someone called Nani Shova. The question is, do you need to restrict vitamin C rich food to patients with G6PD?
Yes, in the cases in disease period also the what I will say the high ascorbic acid, the vitamin C rich food is also not recommended in that particular cases. So maybe they are going for this the GI bleeding, GI trouble in that cases. So we try to restrict the vitamin C rich food, ascorbic acid.
Thank you, sir. There's another question from the same person. Is pomelo and grapefruit the same?
No, pomelo. If she's a Bengali, pomelo mane batabi lebu basically. But grapefruit is not widely available in India. Grapefruit, you can see this color is a little different. Like they are reddish in color, whitish in color. But pomelo is available in Kolkata, in our region also. But grapefruit is not widely available, but it is available. Grapefruit, dragon fruit is also available. The same category. There's got the limonene. So limonene could be our inhibitors for the drug metabolism, the cytokine pathway.
So, Nani Shova, I hope that has answered your query. The next question is from Mafuza Munni. She's asking that why levofoxacin is given before meals in gastric ulcer.
Gastric, okay. In gastric ulcer, basically the levofoxacin before meal. Suppose the patient levofoxacin have a lot of drug nutrient interactions or effect. Maybe after having the levofoxacin medication, basically this is a antibiotic. So after having the antibiotic, patient have the problem with the GI trouble, GI dysfunction, GI bleeding can happen. So before meal, it would be recommended because it would be doesn't lead to lot of probability correction.
All right, thank you, sir. Next question is from Rashika Khatun. She's asking, do artificial sweeteners and drugs like Phenobarbital have some role in the progression or initiation of cancer?
Look, there are research are going on, research is progressing. But if we talk about the artificial sweetener, we'll definitely go for the GRAs, like generalized, recognized as safe. If we talk about the acesulfame K, if we talk about the sucralose, if we talk about the aspartame, if we talk about the stevia and all those things, they are the artificial sweetener or the non-nutritive sweetener. But that could be range is not more than 30 grams per day. We can't go for the beyond these things. Again, the aspartame. If the aspartame for a particular diabetic patients are going with the food groups as cooking medium, like in the boiling temperature, it could be reduced to the phenylketonuria, and again it will be a detrimental effect for a diabetic.
Thank you, sir. We have a question from Onup Ghoshal. Mr. Onup Ghoshal is asking, is there any role of drugs as anti-nutrient? Anti-nutrient.
No, there is no particularly drug with anti-nutrient. How it could be possible? This is not possible because the drug is an anti-nutrient. But again, I'm saying this particular drug like levothyroxine sodium. Levothyroxine sodium is not only anti-nutrient but also anti-medication. Banglaয় বলি অভিমানী ওষুধ. In that cases, early in the morning, they have to take with the bedside form of medication, and has to gap with the 30 minutes, 1 hour to 2 hours before having any kind of food and medications. Suppose people have a problem with the soya beans, because what the Bella ma'am told, soya bean has lot of important role. Soya bean is not only a good amount of the phytoestrogen like isoflavone, genistin is there, but also very good, have the antioxidants is there. But the people avoid to have the soya bean because they have the thyroid problem. So in that cases, this is the anti-nutrient for a particular medicine, levothyroxine sodium. Because levothyroxine sodium is not a drug, basically it is a hormone, but people used to take it as a drug because hormone to can't take up people orally. So drug is a hormone.
Thank you, sir. We have the last question from our very dear colleague, Pratasha Agarwal. She's asking, what is the importance and future of DNA diet?
Look, I'm not too much go for the nutrigenomics. Yes, I have done a master class from the nutrigenomics of different fairs. But this DNA diet is sometimes you can say it's authentic, but sometimes it's not, because in DNA diet there are the reports, their blood reports are to some extent is so different. But I don't know, maybe we are talking about the 21st century, but maybe some other century it will happen because it's so costly. If we taking the taste of this DNA and nutrigenomics test, it may be not less than 25,000, 26,000 kind of a test cost. So people can't, bear in all the test costs and all those things. But yes, there could be a role of, because there's some, carbohydrate metabolism, role of protein metabolism, role of fat metabolism is sometimes different with a particular diet. But I'm not too much of aware because I'm not practicing widely of DNA diet. I just got a certificate, that's it. Thank you,
Thank
for
you
the
very
lovely
much.
question.
Yes, thank you. I hope sir has answered your questions, all the questions adequately. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Participants, I hope you have filled up the feedback form. I hope you're aware that it's been given, the link has been given in the chat box. I would now like to hand over the mic to Pratyasha for the vote of thanks. Thank you, sir.
I have a word.
Sure.
I'll take this opportunity to say a few things about Bela Ji. And I called Bela and we spoke over the phone. She was profusely thanking the organizers and principal ma'am, Dr. Otoshi Karpa, for inviting her to this event. And she had huge technical issues in her area, so she couldn't rejoin. So she couldn't rejoin actually, and it so happened that she couldn't finish what she had tried to say. But nevertheless, she has thanked us profusely and conveyed that we call her up, or she would visit our college and talk to us again. And she has asked all participants, if they have any questions, they can put it in the chat box, and that will be conveyed to her through her mail, and she will provide the answer. Okay, that was all I had to say. So over to you, Pratasha.
Thank you so much, Ranjitaji. So as we are ending the session today, which I think was quite wonderful, thanks to our speakers, I deem it a great honor and privilege to propose a vote of thanks for today's session. I extend my thanks to both the speakers, Srimati Bela Bose and Mr. Aritra Khan, for accepting our invitation and sparing time from their busy schedule to grace the occasion and enlighten us with their knowledge and wisdom. I am grateful to our principal madam, chief patron of this program, for her encouragement, vision, support, and stewardship. My hearty thanks to all the participants for their presence, which has made today's event so successful. On behalf of Department of Clinical Nutrition and Dietetics, special thanks to the Internal Quality Assurance Cell of Gokhale Memorial Girls College for agreeing to collaborate with the Department of Clinical Nutrition and Dietetics to conduct this program. I would like to thank all the members of IQAC, Dr. I.B. Dey, Dr. Bolori Rai Chaudhary, Dr. Gautam Mahata, who is also the course coordinator of Clinical Nutrition and Dietetics Department, Dr. Nobamita Chakraborty, Dr. Saurabh Niyogi, and IQAC coordinator, Dr. Shunchita Sen, for her unstinted support for this event. Lastly, I would like to thank Braindrops, Mr. Akash Mondal, for his technical support in smooth functioning of today's event. Once again, I thank everyone present here for their contribution in making today's event a great success. Thank you all.
Thank you, Pratasha. Is ma'am there? Is Dr. Karfa present still? So we can ask her permission and end this session. Is she there? She has left.
We should not detain the speakers,
Yes.
our honorable speakers.
Change the speakers, so
We should not detain them. They are in a hurry. So
thank you all the participants and speaker, Mr. Oritra Khan, for your wonderful talk today. And we hope to meet you again in another session, a fruitful session.
Thank you so much for
Can we
organizing
give
such a
your
lovely.
mail? Yeah, can I give your mail ID in the chat box so that any participant has, ma'am?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, Pratasha. Yes, Pratasha.
I think she was asking.
Sorry. Yeah, I was actually speaking to ma'am. So she is actually outside. So she has permitted us to end the session. I was just asking Mr. Oritra Khan if we can give his mail ID in the chat box so that anybody has any other queries in future, they can just contact with you. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, I have given already the question.
Oh, you have.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
So we come to the session, end of the session. Thank you very much, Mr. Khan.
Thank you.
Thank you, participants.
Thank you.
And leave now.